everyone, how are we today? Just doing an all signs reading today. We are going to be sort of a bit of an open reading today. So, what I mean by that is open to interpretation, I suppose. Open to how it resonates for each individual sign. The title is going to be Messages of Hope. Okay, so the general idea is some messages that are going to sort of help you keep faith within yourself, within things that are going on in your life that you want things to work out with, how to overcome obstacles, all those sorts of things. Okay, so it is a little bit open to interpretation, open to how it resonates for you personally. As we do know, it is a collective reading, so it is going to suit different people slightly differently. Okay, some of the messages may show us exactly what it's in regard to for you personally. Whereas other readings may just be a little bit more open-ended as we go through the signs. As always, timestamps will be in the description box, so you're more than welcome to, check multiple placements, all that sort of good stuff. All my contact info is in the description box as well, so you're more than welcome to email me or contact me via Instagram or whatever, if you are after a personal reading. I do those online. Okay, so the deck that we're using today, make sure you do subscribe as well, guys. I really appreciate that. Leave me comments. Let me know if you like this sort of style of reading, or it's pretty much the same as a normal all signs. It is just a little bit, I'm leaving the phrasing a little bit open to interpretation, I suppose. So leave me comments. Let me know what you think. Anyway, guys, today I am using the Wild Muse Oracle deck. And the Rana George Lenormand. Okay, so like I said, getting sort of straight on into it, timestamps will be in the description box, which is probably very important this week because I am actually going to start with Libra this week and then move our way, through the zodiac back around to Virgo at the end there. I do like to sort of keep, mix it up a little bit because of my own placements. Sometimes I do like to swap over to starting with Libra rather than Aries, as is sort of standard. Okay, definitely keep an eye out. We do have the shadow work video coming out, in a couple of days for the full moon. So definitely keep an eye out for that one. But I will just let everybody know in advance. There probably won't be that many videos for the next week because I will be traveling with my son. So, I just won't be as available and whatnot, so I won't be able to get quite as many videos up, but I will definitely have that shadow work up for you guys. All right, like I said, getting sort of straight on into it. Thank you for listening to my little chat, I suppose. But we will start off over with Libra. Libra, messages of hope for our Libra. Okay, what are the messages for Libra, for hope for Libra, please? Hope for Libra. Messages of hope for our Libra, please. It's a brand new deck. It's flying all over the place. Okay, so we do have crystal clear coming through first. So definitely finding a bit of clarity, the clearer that you can see the situation from all objective points of view, the more you're going to be able to get your way through those situations. The crystal clear, it's like, it's good. It's kind of telling me that there's like facets. The word facets is coming through, like a clear crystal, and you can see, the light refracting through the crystals, and it's like seeing different pathways and like being able to visualize different consequences and different pathways, and really looking very clearly and rationally at situations, and thinking about, if I do this, if I say this, where does that lead, and really clarifying and getting the clearest view of situations as possible. Also very important to sort of make sure you're looking at it from not just your own perspective, other people's perspectives in the situation and how it may affect others. It does seem to come through there as well, especially with this one. We do have the unconscious games card coming through for you there. So needing to sort of ask yourself, what's going on underneath the surface? Is there any games that I am playing unintentionally? Am I manipulating the situation unintentionally? Am I strategizing? It's not necessarily manipulation. It's more like, we do see the chess pieces in that card. So it's more like strategizing. Am I, out strategizing somebody here and not even giving them an opportunity to, have a chance at winning? If I'm thinking 5 steps ahead and they're just thinking, 1 step ahead, am I actually giving them a fair go? So that's sort of coming through there as well, Libra. But also really sort of seeing under the surface and, finding that clarity of any unconscious games that maybe are being played with you in regard to this situation as well. Is there a deeper sort of level to this situation where there is, somebody else is strategizing against you kind of energy there? Really needing to maybe think a few extra steps ahead, especially with that crystal clear energy. It kind of asks you, that's how you maintain hope, is by you thinking ahead a lot more clearly than what you currently are. Because, I'm kind of picking up you may be prone to, jumping into action or words, an emotional response, I suppose. You may be sort of jumping into emotional response rather than thinking things through very clearly, whereas somebody else in the situation may be, a couple of steps ahead there and holding back on the emotional responses, because they are thinking about, the longer term. So just take that into consideration with your situation, Libra. Messages of hope for Libra, please. Messages of hope for Libra. Stand your ground. We have the anchor coming through first. So this is kind of like, stand your ground. You're not stuck. You're definitely not stuck in a situation. Don't allow yourself to, be pulled back into things that, are trying to hold you back here, trying to stop you from achieving your goals and your dreams, because we do have the stars coming through next there, which is wish fulfillment. So, don't allow things to hold you back from the things that you truly wish for here. You can rely on hope and optimism in this situation. Okay, it's your dreams wanting to be fulfilled, your goals wanting to be met here. All right, so don't allow yourself to be pulled back. It's kind of this energy of, with the anchor there, what does an anchor do? It holds us very steady. It holds a ship steady throughout a storm. No matter how big those waves get, it holds you very steady. And so it's a reminder to us that, you've gotten through a lot in your life already. So hold steady, and you can get through, whatever it is that you're needing to get through in order to get to the wish fulfillment. So you've gotten through worse kind of thing. We do also see the ring coming through here as well, Libra. So, this is for some of you very specific to relationship goals and, commitment goals, those sorts of wishes that you have in mind, with specifically to do with commitment and relationships. For others of you, it is asking you to sort of keep in mind the patterns and the cycles, and really, what is the general, like, because it's telling me a specific pattern here, where, right before you're about to have a goal met, what quite often happens is all of us, everything seems like, oh, this is never going to work. And it's kind of like that last little test before your wish comes true is always seems to be that it looks like it's going to be impossible. It looks like there's no hope of this ever happening. But then, if you stay committed to that, all of a sudden, bang, it comes and happens out of the blue and things like that. So it's kind of asking you to keep in mind those cycles as well, and really, really look at those cycles, especially with this anchor here as well. The cycles of, when things look the hardest and things feel very stuck, and I'm being dragged back down here. What tends to happen? That storm ends and the sun comes back out again. So really keep that in mind there. That's part of that crystal clear energy, that, the sun does rise again. It doesn't stay night forever. It doesn't stay storms forever. You do move back into the calmer waters eventually. All right, so it's asking you to remember that pattern as well, Libra. All right, so that's what we have for you today. You're more than welcome to check your other placements, of course. Subscribe to the channel, and we will move on over to Scorpio. Okay, Scorpio, messages of hope for Scorpio. On the topic of hope for Scorpio, messages of hope for our Scorpios. Scorpio. Okay, so Scorpio, we are seeing, firstly, we're seeing the 10-90 ratio. Okay, so you can see here that someone is giving 10 and the other is giving 90. So really needing to ask yourself, are you the one who's only giving 10? Are you the one that's giving 90? Are you giving more than you're receiving in this situation? It does talk about the 10-90 ratio. It does also talk about, in any sort of relationship, whether it's a partnership for work or, love life or whatever, friends, family, we do have this thing where, people quite often say, give it 100%. But, if you give your whole life 100%, where's the rest time? Where's the downtime? And especially when it comes to partnerships, Scorpio, you actually only need to give 50%, and the other person needs to give 50%, and then between you, you've got 100%. But at the moment, we're looking at 10-90. Someone's giving 10, someone's giving 90. Is this a temporary thing? Is this something that you're aware of? Is this something that you're allowing? Okay, because sometimes when you're not feeling, the greatest, you can, this is something I've heard, a really great thing for relationships is to say to somebody, look, I can only give 10 today. I'm sorry, but I can only give 10 today. And then your partner will, if they love you and they care about you and they want to do the best for this relationship, they'll go, that's okay, I'll do the 90 today. I'll pull up with the 90. If you've only got 10 to give today, that's all. That's your all. If all you've got is 10 and that's all that you can give today, Scorpio, that's fine. I'll pull up for the 90 today because I know that tomorrow when I've only got 10 that you're going to pull up with the 90. But it does sort of balance itself out. So you kind of need to just sort of take this ratio into consideration here of like who's the one that is giving here, because I do just feel like for you in particular that someone is giving 90 consistently and the other is only giving 10 consistently, and there's just no equal energy there. It needs to we need to look at who's actually giving the most and who's not able to give the most, and why is that the case, and looking a little bit deeper at that, and we do also see there is always a way. Okay, there is always a way. No matter how out of balance things do seem, there is always a way to balance that back out. There is always a way. I am picking up immediately here. Communication is generally one of the easiest ways to do that. Say to someone, look, I feel like you're only giving me 10%. I feel like I've been giving you, 90% of everything, my time, my love, my energy, but you've only been giving me 10. We need to work this out. Communicate. Be honest, open, honest communication. There is always a way. And if you can't find a way, then, you make your own way. You carve your own path. And if that is, well, look, if this is not being rectified, then I'll rectify it by leaving the situation. Sometimes that needs to happen as well. Okay, so that you can take back your 10 and put it back into yourself. But clarifying this situation for you here, Scorpio. But there is always a way, no matter how dismal anything may seem, no matter how impossible, your dreams may be, there is always hope that the impossible can be possible. All right? It wouldn't exist as hope without it being possible. Okay? Scorpio, messages of hope for Scorpio. Okay, so for quite a lot of you, we are looking at a past situation. We have the mice coming through first. So we are looking at a past situation. You feel as though there is no hope here because, you know, the mice tells us that all hope is gone, that you know, and not the Slipknot song, guys. I do love myself some Slipknot, but it kind of talks about loss. It talks about, you know, I've lost hope. I've lost, you know, faith. I've lost somebody, I've lost something in the past here, and it leaves me very stressed and feeling like there is no hope. You know, it feels as though I've had something taken away from me. You know, it eats away at me that I don't have this. You know, but there is always a way. There is always a way, because we do also see here the house. Okay, so you know it's kind of talking about the need to balance. Once again, the house is really talking about the need to stabilize this energy because you know there is always a way, and if that loss is eating away at you so badly that you know you can't function with that you know stuck in the past kind of energy, you need to stabilize that and balance that out somehow, some way. All right, and find within yourself the security to really work out, is there a way that you know, because we're seeing for you here there is always a way. So is this something that you want to you know, take back, or is this something that you are wanting to heal and grow from? You know, really working out what it is that you actually want here. You know, and then to know that there is always a way to do that. It's just a matter of, you know, needing to stabilize yourself first, because we have the house here, and that does talk about, you know, security and stability, and so it needs to sort of focus inward a little bit with that house energy, because you know the house is like ourself, and each part of ourself is a different room within this house, and we need to balance it all together, and work out, you know, where is that loss. You know, what room is that loss in? Is that in the room of love? Is that in the room of family? Is that, you know, for a lot of you, this may be connected to family with the house there as well. Pardon. But it's saying there is always a way. And for a lot of you here, I'm feeling that if you can't go back to the past, there is always a way. And do you know what the other ways are? The present and the future. So, you know, it's kind of talking about that, that if you can't go back to the past, and you can't change the past, and you can't you know, bring back something that has been lost to you, um, there is always another way, and that way is forwards. Okay, and to, you know, maybe find that same, because I'm feeling like for a lot of you, it's wanting me to say find that same love elsewhere in your life, in the future, in the forwards momentum here, and the way that we're doing that there, we do see the birds coming out, conversations like I picked up on initially there, talking openly, honestly, vulnerable talk, have the conversation, you know. For some of you, that's the best way to stabilize yourself, is to have this conversation that, look, I want to resurrect the past. Look, I'm stuck in the past. Look, I want to grow and heal from the past. Whatever that is for your particular situation here, Scorpio, there is always hope, and it starts with a conversation for you. For some of you there, the birds can sometimes talk, especially with the house there as well. It can actually talk about, you know, like finding having an advice conversation where you're asking for advice, asking a family member for advice. Could even be a therapist as well, but there is always a way. And it really does need you to sort of think about the balance of the situation and balancing out, you know, giving a little bit more if you need to give more, you know, asking for more if you need more from somebody there as well. Okay, Scorpio, so that's what we have for you. You're more than welcome to check out your other placements, of course. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel, and we will move on over to our Sagittarius. Okay. All right, Sagittarius, messages of hope for Sagittarius. Messages of hope for Sagittarius, please. Okay, Sagittarius. Firstly, we have the upside down. All right, so it's kind of like time to turn it on its head and flip the situation around, and look at it from the other perspective as well. That's definitely coming through here as well. The needing to turn the whole thing upside down and look at it from the total opposite direction. That whether that is somebody else's perspective, or just changing your perspective. Flipping the whole situation. It just keeps saying that, flipping the whole situation on its head. Flipping yourself upside down to have a look at the situation, just looking at it from a different angle, kind of thing. And it seems to be the complete opposite angle to the way you are currently approaching the situation. We do also see be authentic. So it's kind of like wanting to ask you here, like, why are you hiding from yourself a little bit with this situation? That under you're putting on these masks of, this is what so-and-so would want me to do. This is what would be the best thing for this people. And, it doesn't seem to be that you're being 100% true to yourself here. So there is the need for you to flip the situation on its head and ask, what would be, if there was no other concerns outside of what you want, what would you do in this situation? What would the answer be if you were 100% truthful with yourself about this? Because I do feel like for quite a lot of you, the be authentic is that you're putting a mask on, in front of your own self. That it's kind of that energy of like, everything's okay, everything's okay, everything's okay, because you're in denial about whatever's going on deep down within yourself, and trying to deny that this is affecting you at all. And that's not being authentic to your own truth. All right, so it's asking you to just flip it out and look at it from different angles, as well as being completely honest and truthful with your own self about your feelings on the matter. Okay, but we'll have a look with the lenormand here, Sagittarius. Okay, Sagittarius, messages of hope for Sagittarius. Messages of hope for our Sagittarius. Trust your instincts. Trust your instincts. Okay. We do see the moon coming through first there. So this is kind of like, for some of you, I'm hearing as well, this has got to do with that upside down energy, where it's like you're trying to understand this situation out in the sunlight, out in the daylight. So it's time to actually, look at the situation at nighttime. I don't know how that is relevant, but for some of you there, that may resonate in some kind of a way. It's just kind of saying, stop looking at it in the light, start looking at the situation in the dark. So it may talk about, the balance between light and dark, stop looking at it with, the glass half full, start looking at it like the glass half empty, which, I wouldn't normally, but it's not half, that's probably not the best example there. It's more, the light and the dark in the, no holds barred kind of darkness, where, it's fully truthful that I'm angry. It's some of those harsher emotions, I think, that you're kind of hiding from those true emotions of the situation, and so therefore you're not taking that perspective into account. You're not looking at the darker side of yourself, and if it's kind of, because I'm kind of getting like, if I wanted to be a total ish about this, then what would the answer be? Do you know what I mean? If I don't care about anyone else's feelings, then what would I be doing? So that's the perspective I feel a lot of you need to look at it from. If I wasn't such a nice person, what would I do? That kind of thing. Because I feel like you kind of you're being too nice, too light. You actually need to find the middle ground there, and sometimes we find that by embracing that darker side of ourselves a little bit more. So we can at least see that perspective and then find the middle ground in between the two of them. All right. But the moon really does ask us to trust our intuition and, you know, trust those gut feelings as well. We do have the birds and the mice coming through there as well, Sagittarius. So there is something, it seems to be hidden, some sort of secret from the past that's being hidden here. A past loss, something from the past that sort of eats away at you, because you just don't, it feels like you just don't understand something completely from the past here, or you're hiding the full truth of the matter from the past here, from yourself. It's something's being kept in the dark here, and there's conversations that need to be had about, you know, something that's happened in the past. So whatever this in the past is, it's like a loss, something that stressed you out, something that was taken from you. You know, it still sort of niggles away in the back of your head a little bit here, but it's being kept in the dark. So there needs to be some conversations about that in order for that to sort of, you know, be revealed and assess that as well. So for a lot of you, that's what's being kept in the dark with the be authentic, is there's something being kept in the dark, and that's allowing us to hide from the truth, I suppose, you know, hide the full truth. You know, and for some of you here, this is, you know, take it how it resonates, but for some of you, the truth that's being kept in the dark there is something to do with your personal responsibility for the situation as well. Needing to look at it from somebody else's perspective and take personal responsibility for your role, your behavior, your words, in the situation. You know, once again, looking at the darker side of self there in order to clarify that for yourself there. We will have the shadow work reading in a couple of days, so that may prove useful to you, Sagittarius, with this situation as well. All right, so make sure you do subscribe to the channel, and we will move on over to our Capricorns. Okay, Capricorn, messages of hope for Capricorn. Capricorn energy, messages of hope for the Capricorns. Interesting energy here, Capricorn. Firstly, we're saying, interesting, we're seeing the every step counts. Okay, so every single step that you're taking in a situation, it's important. It counts towards the end results here. It counts towards, you know, I'm hearing kind of like the test results for some of you for some reason. And you know what? It's not always every step forward that counts. Sometimes our steps backwards count as well. The things that, you know, the mistakes that we make and the failures that we're racking up, you know, in our own brain there, we're saying, oh, we failed at that was a mistake. You know, I took steps backwards there. They count too, because they help us. It's how we, you know, regain the ground from those steps backwards. Sometimes that's what makes the biggest difference of all. Every single step counts, not just the forward steps, not just the forward movement, Capricorn. You know, sometimes we need to sidestep things, and that's just as important as well. The ship has sailed. The ship has sailed. But do you know what? Unbothered. This person here, you know, this was like, I don't know whether you can see that, but she has this chain coming from her arm leading up to this anchor. This was whatever the ship has sailed on, Capricorn, it was holding you back. So every step counts. You allowing that ship to leave the shore, it's allowing you to actually release these chains and not be held down anymore. To you know, step around these things, you know. The ship has sailed, and so be it. It's coming through as like the time for something has passed, and I feel like for a lot of you, it was something that you maybe wanted to get on that ship, and you thought that that ship was going to take you to where you wanted to go. But as this ship leaves and it is gone, you realize that it was actually holding you back from where you were supposed to be. You're supposed to be right here, right where you are, and allow that ship to sail without you, because your journey is different to wherever that ship is going. That ship is going somewhere that you probably don't even want to go, Capricorn. You know, it's like there's always more ships, Capricorn. Let's have a look here with the lenormand. Capricorn. Messages of hope for Capricorn. And do you know what? It's a ship. It can always turn around and come back if it is supposed to. You can always catch a different ship. Maybe you're not supposed to get on the ship. Maybe, you know, you avoid drowning. Messages of hope for Capricorn. I'm actually hearing that too, that ship is sinking. That ship is sinking. So it's a good thing you didn't get on it. It's time to, you know, rest. Stop beating yourself up, Capricorn, because you didn't get on that ship. Yeah? Stop beating yourself up that you've taken steps sideways or backwards. Like, every step counts. That this is exactly where you're supposed to be, even if it doesn't feel like it in the time. Even if it was something that you thought you wanted. That ship is sinking anyway. We do have the bed coming through first, Capricorn. So, you know, it is important to find time to rest and just recuperate your energy right about now. That the bed normally does come through here when, you know, sleep is important for you at the moment. Rest is important for you, whether it's physical rest or otherwise, just resting and knowing that you don't always have to be pushing and jumping on this ship and then jumping on that ship and then jumping on this ship. You don't always have to be moving forward to actually be moving forward. Okay. Sometimes the moving forward feels like taking a step backwards. Sometimes moving forward feels like doing nothing, staying in bed all day. Sometimes that's what's necessary. I feel like when I see that bed energy come through, a lot of the time it lets us know that, you know, you and your energy are way beyond reality, and you just need to rest and allow things to catch up with you, Capricorn. You've been moving so fast and working so hard on everything that you need to allow things to catch up with you. You know, there's no point in the race if there's no one else in it. So you just need them to catch up a little bit before you can, you know, continue on. We have the whip coming through here, the broom. So it's time to really, you know, that's why we're resting, is to deal with some ish. Not going to lie, Capricorn. You know, it's kind of like, because you're arguing with yourself about having the rest to start with. You're punishing yourself, feeling as though you've gone backwards and things like that. You know, but it's kind of time for you to deal with that conflict within yourself and learn how to be comfortable in the rest, in the doing nothing period. Okay, that in the stagnant period, you need to learn how to be comfortable in that, because, you know, to you, Capricorn, if you're constantly moving forward, resting and stopping feels like, you know, like, I'm never going to get back up. It feels like you're falling behind, but you're actually not. You're, like I said, you're waiting for everyone else to catch up, waiting for everything else to catch up with you. You're so far ahead that you know, so stop beating yourself up about it, because it's not something to actually beat yourself up about. You're in conflict and you're causing this drama within yourself for sort of kind of no reason at all, Capricorn. It's time for you to meet a new fate. We have the garden there. So just enjoy spending time with friends, getting out and meeting new people and you know, networking and going out and spending time outdoors, you know, in the garden, that sort of stuff. It really is just sort of about, I feel for you, Capricorn, it's just, you know, going out and about and, you know, meeting up with friends and enjoying that time. You know, for some of you, there maybe, you know, it kind of is like letting you know that you are going to meet the future for yourself eventually, and you are going to meet new goals and new hopes that are going to inspire you in a different kind of way. You're not stepping backwards. The ship didn't leave you. That ship is sinking. It's you're going to meet a new ship if you just stop and wait for it. Okay, you're stopping and waiting for the ship now. You're allowing that one to pass you by, because you know that it's going to sink as soon as it gets out into the deep water. It's going to sink. You're waiting for the next ship that is going to be, sturdy and stable and not sink. All right, so it's not nothing, Capricorn. It's waiting for everything to catch up with you. To be honest, that every single step counts, even the ones where you feel like you're going backwards. All right, so that's what we have for you, Capricorn. You're more than welcome to check your other placements, of course. Subscribe to the channel, and we will move on over to our Aquarius. Okay, Aquarius, messages of hope for Aquarius. Messages of hope for Aquarius. I just heard the word pinch, Aquarius. Messages of hope for Aquarius. Connect with nature. So what I'm getting here is like, it's kind of like, there's messages trying to come through for you personally, Aquarius, and you need to sort of ground yourself and quite literally connect with nature in some way. I feel like for a lot of you that you need to, like, I know that this sometimes feels like a mean thing or something, but you literally need to go and touch grass. Get yourself back to reality a little bit here. Stop allowing yourself to sort of fly off into the stars and go and touch some grass and bring yourself back to the land where the rest of us are. I don't mean that to sound harsh at all. It actually feels very like physical, like very real, like very literally go and touch grass, like go and hug a tree, go and sit in a garden and meditate in the garden space, and go and do some gardening, or plant some flowers, or pick some flowers, or even just go for a hike or a walk through a park or something like that. And some of you may want to delve a little bit deeper into that as well, and quite literally connect with Mother Earth, Gaia, whatever you want to sort of word that as. But there's quite a few meditations you can do that can very strongly connect you to nature. My personal recommendations are, envisioning yourself as a tree and allowing yourself to sort of sway with the breeze. And there's, if you just look it up on YouTube, connect with nature meditation, or Mother Nature meditation, or I am a tree meditation, all those sorts of things. Those sorts of meditations are really a really good way to ground yourself in that nature kind of energy. Listening to the sounds of water, of birds, of whatever it is that sort of grabs your attention there, Aquarius. We do also see healthy boundaries coming through. So I feel like this is mostly healthy boundaries with yourself. It's kind of like drawing a line in the sand for yourself and telling yourself, I'm not going to cross that boundary. I'm not going to allow myself to get away with it, like get away with myself. Like, because it feels like it's kind of like you're allowing your thoughts to and your hopes to spiral a little bit, where you're building these things up in yourself so much that they're kind of unrealistic. So you're actually needing to like build some healthy boundaries around yourself, where you're actually making your goals achievable. You may have these goals in mind, these dreams in mind, these hopes in mind that are, that they're unachievable. or they're so far away from being achievable right now. You need to sort of set yourself smaller goals. You know, it doesn't mean close off to that goal completely. It means think closer to reasonable for yourself right now. Draw yourself a healthy boundary. What can I do now? What goal can I meet now where I actually have a chance of meeting that goal right now that will lead to, you know, success later on with that bigger goal. Just reining it in a little bit, Aquarius, is what's coming through the most there. Aquarius, messages of hope for Aquarius. Once again, it's that grounding yourself, you know, grounding yourself into reality a little bit more rather than allowing yourself to spiral into these, I'm hearing the phrase delusions of grandeur. Not necessarily saying that that's what your dreams are, your hopes are, but, you know, messages of hope for Aquarius, please. Yeah, so it's time to end that that BS. We have the coffin coming through there, so it's time to just end the way that you're placing expectations on yourself, I suppose. You know, and transform that into new ways of doing things. The coffin, it talks about endings that bring around new beginnings. So it's ending the way that you're, you know, placing these goals on yourself all the way up here. You know, whereas if you put them down here, you can meet that. And then you can meet that, and then you can meet that, and eventually you will get up here, you know. So it's a new way of doing things. It's putting all that energy that you've been putting into up here, and then it's unachievable. You're creating smaller goals for yourself. You're doing things in just a new way. You're just you know, putting all that energy into, you know, transforming the way that you're looking at these things. Especially with this tree here as well. So you really are, you know, once again, connecting with nature. You're needing to do that, you know, in order to find some patience a little bit here as well. You can't just jump from here to here immediately. I'm sorry, it's not quite that easy. You do need to, you know, meet these steps in between. But it's asking you to sort of just heal the way, you know, heal and grow and mature a little bit with the way that you're approaching your goals and your hopes here. Once again, those healthy boundaries. Take care of yourself, because, you know, it kind of really is looking after yourself by putting those boundaries around yourself, because then you're giving yourself goals that you will meet. And, you know, then you get that feeling of, oh, I just did it. That's amazing. I got to here. It's so great. And then, you know, you're more likely to hit that next step, and then that next step, you know. So whereas if you're trying to jump that whole distance, all of a sudden you're like, I jumped and I missed. I jumped and I missed. I jumped and I missed. But then if you're doing the little, I jumped and I got it. I jumped and I got it. You see what I mean? But we do see the book here as well. So it's just learning new ways of looking at things, and especially your goals. You know, looking at your goals and your hopes, just in a new kind of way, and learning better ways that actually work. You know, because you're just sort of putting this unachievable, you know, the goals off in the stratosphere, and you can't jump from here to there. You do need to sort of bring it back down to earth a little bit, and work from there. Meet some goals and before you get up into your stratosphere. Okay, Aquarius, so that's what we've got for you. You're more than welcome to check out your other placements, of course. Subscribe to the channel, and we will move on over to our Pisces. Okay, messages of hope for Pisces. Pisces, messages of hope for Pisces. Messages of hope for our Pisces. Pisces, this is pretty clear, pretty straightforward, that the messages of hope for you are to not lose hope. It's kind of just wanting to reassure you that Hope is not an unrealistic expectation, Pisces. We have endless serendipity. Everything falls into place when and how it is supposed to. What you need, you are given right as you need it. Hope is on the horizon. Okay, it's closer than you think, and there is a reason to have these hopes, and because I feel like a lot of you Pisces, you're kind of like messages of hope and kind of saying, but there is no hope, and this is kind of saying, reassuring you that yes, there is hope with whatever that is that you're hoping for, Pisces. There is hope, and it's actually a lot closer than you may think. Everything is actually starting to fall into place exactly at the right time, exactly how it's supposed to. All right. Clarify this message for Pisces. Messages of hope for our Pisces, please. Hope, faith, trusting yourself. Hope, the stars, okay? That is dreams being fulfilled, a reason to hope and be hopeful and have optimism and know that your wishes will be granted, your goals will be met. It's on the horizon. The stars, the stars are literally falling from the sky for you, Pisces. Your wishes are coming true sooner than you realize. Have faith. We have the cross. Have faith. And that's, once again, everything is falling into place exactly when and how it is supposed to. Have faith that everything happens for a reason. Trust yourself. Okay, we have the fox there as well. All right, which is a very independent energy. Do what you need to do for you. All right, the fox worries about itself first and foremost, and what it does what it does. It does what it needs to do in order to survive. All right, it's very independent, can be a little bit sneaky and crafty when it needs to be, but it's all in, the achievement of its own goals. It's chasing those stars, and it will stop at nothing to get them. All right, so stand tall and strong and be smart about it. That I'll do whatever it takes, because I hope and I know that it's kind of like this knowing with that destiny card there, the faith card there. Destiny's on your side. Have faith that destiny is looking out for you. So you just stand tall and strong and do what you got to do, and you will get there. Hope is definitely on the horizon for you, Pisces. It's just kind of wanting to just give you a little bit of reassurance more than any specific messages there. It's just sort of saying, have hope, have faith, have hope, have faith. But that's what we've got for you, Pisces. You're more than welcome to check out your other placements, of course. Subscribe to the channel, and we will move on over to Aries. Okay, Aries. Messages of hope for Aries. Messages of hope for Aries, please. Aries. Pretty specific messages for you. Okay, we do have tell it like it is. You can see her standing there in front of all these microphones. And then we also have be authentic, which is, taking off the masks and being truthful, being very, very honest, being authentic, being the person that you are, not the person that gains favor by acting this way or saying that, or no, you're not putting on an act for anybody else. You're being 120% you, Aries. Okay, and then you're telling it like it is. You're not being afraid to be honest and stand up for yourself and say what you think. This is, be vocal. It's like kind of like the world is your stage. All you need to do is speak and speak your truth. Be very honest about what that truth is. It's time to vocalize that truth and, take off those masks that, because that mask energy too, that be authentic energy, that's where we sit there and we go, I'm fine, everything's fine. No, be authentic. Be vocal about it. Tell it like it is. Everything is not fine. I've had a really shit day. This happened, that happened. I'm feeling really bad about this. Da 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 da. Be honest. Be truthful. Tell it like it is. No holds barred. All right. No holding back. No being afraid of the truth of yourself. You know, kind of like it is what it is, Aries. But that's what we're seeing for as messages of hope for you is for you to stand in your truth and to yourself as well. Raise your voice to yourself. And why am I hiding? Why am I hiding from that? Why am I pretending that doesn't affect me? Why am I, question yourself on those things and don't allow fear to overtake you. But we'll clarify that message, Aries. Messages of hope for Aries, because this is coming through as a message of hope too. So it tells us that overcoming these issues that you're having and the true hope for you here, Aries, is that you need to be truthful to yourself and to to voice that, and then that there is hope for those dreams to come true, for your goals to be met. You just need to stand up and ask for them to be met, and say what you want and say what you need, and say, this is who I am. So being authentic and true. Aries, messages of hope for our Aries, please. Just clarify this message, please. Just clarify this message for Aries. Messages of hope for Aries. Just can I just get a reword on that, please? Just reword that message for Aries, please. Okay, so the initial cards I drew here, we have the child, the woman, and then the scythe. The reason I did ask to, reword that is because I am just getting sort of like one very sort of general message coming through there that it's like something needs to change. And it needs to be drastic change. To the immature emotions kind of thing. Instead of nurturing the immature emotions, we need to break free from that energy, and break free from the childlike emotions, So it's kind of talking about regulating our emotions in a different way, nurturing ourselves in a different way, breaking free from because with the child there, it's kind of like you're acting like it's all a game, but it's not. Do you know what I mean? It's going back to that mask energy where you're putting on this mask where it's all just a game. It's all just shits and giggles. It's all just part of the game, and it's all good. It's all good. It's just a game. I'm not worried. But it's not being truthful to your true emotions on the subject here. It's actually being a little bit immature because you're not addressing the truth of yourself. You're I am picking up a little bit here of like hiding behind things that don't matter, like hiding behind things like games and oh, it's just fun. As long as I'm having fun, that's what matters. But it's not. That doesn't actually matter. You're nurturing the wrong things on an emotional level. Um, So you're needing to sort of break free from that immaturity. And it needs to be like drastic, sudden change there. That's why I wanted to reword that, because it was being a little bit cagey. And then this is also just a bit cagey, not going to lie. But take it how it resonates, Aries. You're more than welcome to check other placements as well. We have the rider coming through first. So, the good news on the way. Getting back up on that horse and moving forward. And we do have the incense burner, allowing the smoke to clear. It's like come forth with your news. It's like, because the rider's actually coming through very much like hear ye, hear ye. What do they call it? The town crier. Hear ye, hear ye. It's me, Aries, and this is my truth. Like, and that's kind of like that tell it like it is energy, because it's like very vocal, very, everybody listen, this is what I've got to say. And I feel like that rider energy is you up on that horse, yelling out, listen to me, this is what I've got to say, and this is my truth, and this is who I am. And that allows the smoke to clear a little bit. It's a very cleansing energy to actually be truthful about who you are, and take the mask off, and be honest about what's going on for you here, Aries. It's kind of like, because I'm hearing him now. I'm hearing the hear ye guy going, hear ye, it's a shit day today, but hopefully tomorrow's going to be better. And then the smoke clears and you're like, oh, cool, that's all I have to do to make tomorrow better. Awesome. You start to see answers, as you move forward and talk, speak your own truth. You actually start to sort of find the answers along the way. And then we see the sun, which is the smoke clearing, and then the sun comes out. The smoke clears and then everything is revealed. Personal epiphanies, Aries. So you just need to start, shouting it from the rooftops and being very honest with yourself, cutting out those masks and cutting out any, like, immature ways of dealing with your emotions and immature emotions. And, life is just a game, and, it's just a game. I'm just playing this game, and I'm playing games. Cut all that out, and, you will have some personal epiphanies coming through here that will lead you to happiness, okay? Because, the masks at the moment, they're not just covering the shit. They're covering the path to happiness as well, okay? So when that smoke clears, you see, all of a sudden I see what I want, and I know what's going to make me happy. Because right now it kind of feels like, we're asking for words of hope, and hope is all about, having your goals be achieved, and knowing how to get to those dreams come true and all that sort of stuff. And once that smoke clears, all of a sudden it's like, oh wow, now I know how to do it. Now I know what to do. All right, so bit of a convoluted message there, Aries, but take what you need, take what resonates, and we will move on over to our Taurus. Okay, messages of hope for Taurus. Taurus, messages of hope for Taurus. Okay. Oh, beauty sleep, Taurus. All right, so needing to catch up on some physical rest to start with there. It's not, it's kind of just like, for a lot of you, it's just focusing time on just chilling and resting your physical self, and focusing on, what you need physically to rest your body, your mind, your soul, because you are about to enter into a bigger phase with this. So you're just really needing to sort of rest on it. And for some of you, there is that energy too of making sure you are taking care of your, beauty regimens, and taking care of your skin and all that sort of stuff. Because I do sort of feel that for a couple of you, there is the need to Just get something under control, like on a physical level. Get your rest and make sure you're eating right and all that sort of stuff. But it's also talking about, dreaming. For some reason, dreams are coming through strongly here as well. That, in this rest period, the dreams that you're creating have a lot more strength, because that you don't actually need to go and be doing something all the time towards your goals, and you can still just have hope, and just having hope is enough, and just dreaming of the life that you want, and dreaming of the results that you want, and dreaming that you're overcoming XYZ. Sometimes that's enough, and stop overworking yourself, to stop pushing yourself so hard to be it all and have it all right here, right now, because you're just kind of enjoying this rest period, I suppose, because you are about to boss up. All right, we have the boss up card. So that's when you sort of get a good night's sleep, get a good rest, and then the next day you put your work face on and you boss up, and you're leveling up within this situation. You're really taking things under your control, and finalizing all the details. I do really kind of get a lot of you delegating and scheduling and all that sort of stuff, your own life, and it's not necessarily work related at all. And it's not about having to do such hard work. It's about being, that's why we're seeing the beauty sleep, because you're then going on and presenting this face to the world, Taurus, that I already have it all. So of course you're going to give me it all, because I already have it all and I deserve it all. And it's not always about hard work. There's a lot of fun in amongst it all, because she's not just carrying the like, is it a briefcase type thing, and then she's got her planner or whatever. But look, she's got the cool fashion choices, and then down here there's some like champagne and whatnot. So there really is a level up coming your way, where but the beauty sleep is all about dream it and you can be it kind of thing. Taurus, messages of hope for Taurus. Messages of hope for our Taurus. So it's just really taking control and just showing everyone that I am already the boss of my own self. So of course you should treat me as such, kind of thing. Okay, starting off here, we have the house coming through first. Stability, security, and that's what the beauty sleep is all about, is just finding that peace within yourself to, I'm stable, I'm secure, I know who I am, I'm this awesome boss bitch. So like act what you want to be, kind of thing, that be secure in that, and show the world that this is who I am, and you all better fall in line, kind of thing. It's given real power moves kind of energy here. But then we do have the letter coming through there. So there is some important information on the way to you. It could be in the form of some sort of communication or expression. I feel like for a lot of you, it's this expression of I am stable, I am secure, I know I deserve this. And you're expressing that to the world. You're communicating that to the world just through your own self and way of being, and acting as though I already have it all, kind of thing. And then we do see the lilies here as well. So this is making some long-term changes in your world here. This is a long-term kind of boss up, kind of level up kind of thing for you here. It shows us that, moving on as we mature and whatnot into our lives, that this is part of who I'm going to be. It's not just part of who I am, it's part of who I want to be and who I'm going to be. So you're really showing a lot of confidence at the moment in your own self. And it's all starting off with this, finding stability. around yourself and within yourself. For a lot of you, that may be, home is where the heart is kind of energy as well, that knowing that you've got this secure foundation of unconditional love around you, whether it be a partner, friends, family, or whatever, you do have that security around you already. And so, relying on that and moving forward very confidently from that energy is quite strong. The lilies also does talk about, showing your kindness and showing your morality. So, sticking to your morals, communicating, these are my morals, this is who I am. This is part of who I am. I'm this sweet Taurus, and that's why I deserve all this stuff, because I already am the boss, and I'm doing it in the right way. I'm not, I'm not a boss that, is, like a harsh taskmaster. I'm kind, and I follow this rule of my own ethics and morals while I'm doing it. I'm beautiful inside and out. So, step up or step out kind of thing, that I'm stepping up and I'm stepping out. I'm taking over kind of thing, taking over the world. I'm hearing that it's an older cartoon from when I was a kid. It's Pinky and the Brain, and what are we going to do today? Like, because there's two mice and one of them's, so what are we going to do today? And the other is, we're going to take over the world. It's cute. Same thing we do every day, Pinky. Today we're going to take over the world. It's cute. It's actually quite a funny little cartoon from when I was a kid. I have not seen that for a very long time, but quite love that one. I did like that one. Now I've got the song in my head. They're laboratory mice. I don't even know the words. That's all I remember, just the little tune. Okay, but that's what we've got for you today, Taurus. You're more than welcome to check out your other placements, of course. Subscribe to the channel, and we will move on over to Gemini. Gemini, messages of hope for Gemini. Messages of hope for our Geminis. Okay, Gemini. Oh, Gemini. Very interesting energy for you here. Hidden in plain sight. Okay, we see the figure there, with the girl there with the chameleon on her shoulder. Hidden in plain sight. So I'm getting a very kind of specific message here, that the answers that you seek are already there. You already have the answers that you seek. They're just kind of like the simple answer that you passed over as, oh, that's too easy of an answer. That it's right there in front of me. That's the answer. And you're like, oh, that's too easy. But that is the solution. That is the answer here. And some of you didn't want to see that because it involves sacrifices. All right. And sacrifices can be a lot of things. All right. And the answers are hidden in plain sight. It could just be a sacrifice of sacrificing holding on to the negative energy, sacrificing holding on to the pain and the hurt and the fear that these hopes and dreams are not going to come true. Because sometimes, we get very comfortable in those things, because change is scary. Yeah. So sometimes even the positive stuff is scary, and we don't want to make that change for it, because we've just become so, adapted. Once again, that camouflage energy, we've become adapted to what we're given, where we've, camouflaged ourselves in this life that we've kind of like settled into, rather than, and so we're unwilling to step out of our comfort zone, because, then all of a sudden we're this green chameleon in a yellow world, and we stand out like crazy. So sometimes we do need to make that sacrifice of standing out and being seen, or standing up and taking that chance for happiness, even if it means sacrificing what has become comfortable. All right, so that's kind of what's coming through for you there, Gemini, with those cards. But for others of you, it may be a little bit more of a sacrifice. I'm not going to lie. I'll see what comes out with the lenormand here. Messages of hope for our Geminis. But majority of you, I'm getting that the thing that you have to sacrifice is something that you know isn't right for you already. You know that this is like, it's kind of that energy of like sacrificing that person in my life in order to, you know, have another person in my life. But you're kind of like, oh, but I'm not ready to let go of that first person, even though I know that they're no good for me. Messages of hope for our Geminis. Yeah, coming up with new ideas on what to do and how to stabilize yourself and find that comfort zone all over again. Okay, we have the stork coming through first here. So that's, you know, stirring up shit basically, and, you know, coming up with new ideas, you know, new perspectives on how we're going to move forward, and in order to stir up that new energy and new comfort zones. Okay, we have the house there as well. So it's kind of like, you know, getting out of our comfort zone in order to find a new comfort zone in something better. You can be comfortable in the new thing. It's just a matter of, you know, the change in between the two is the difficult steps, you know, because you're so comfortable right here where you are. It's because, you know, like you think about your comfort zone as an actual house, yeah, and you've been living in this rental property and it's falling to pieces, and, you know, you hate it, but I'm so used to this area. I'm used to the neighbors. I know the neighbors. I know, you know, I could put this much money into rent, and I do. You're very comfortable with the process of living there, even though you hate it. You don't want to live there anymore. That's your comfort zone. I know what it's. At least I know which, you know, how that, you've got to twist this tap like this to get it to work, and I know how you've got to flush the toilet for it to flush properly, and I know how everything works, and I know how to do it all and work it all out, even though it's not, you know, ideal. At least I know, you know, you're kind of telling yourself, better the devil I know. At least I know how it works, and you become very comfortable in that. But then, you know, this new comfort zone comes along, and it's this new house that you could actually own this house, but all of a sudden then you're like, but I don't know how to do mortgage. I only do rent, so I don't know how to do mortgage, and you know, I don't know how to fix those taps to make them work the way that I like my pressure, and you know, if something goes wrong, I don't know what to do about that, and this, and, you know, it kind of, the change, even though it's a much better change for you because you're like, I want to own my own house, and this is a newer house, it's not falling apart as much, but I'm so used to this area, so used to this house, and I know what needs to be done. I know how to make it work. It's kind of scary to think about moving, even though you know, deep down, you know that this new house is like way more ideal. It's still scary, okay? But it's time to get out there, you know, get back out there. We have the garden there as well. So the new comfort zone is something that you need to meet, all right? It's asking you to meet that new comfort zone, you know, stir up that new idea, and find that new, you know, new perspectives on what your security and stability really are. Because, you know, back to the example of the house, your security and your stability are not the house that you live in. They come from within. It's not anything to do with the house. It's your feelings about the house, your feelings of comfort and whatnot, and, you know, the knowledge that you already have, and you know, the fear of the unknown. So you're kind of having to meet that fear halfway, and compromise a little bit here, and get back out there. You know, get out and about, and, you know, go and attend these meetings, and you know, take those invitations when you're invited somewhere. Take the invitation, go to the event. All that sort of stuff is, you know, it may feel like it's getting out of your comfort zone, but it's not necessarily getting out of your comfort zone. Maybe it's creating a new one. Okay, So, you hidden in plain sight. Sometimes the answers are hidden in plain sight, and you need to make the sacrifice of the house that is crap, and it's not working for you. You need to make that sacrifice in order to move on to the new, better stuff for yourself. Okay, so I hope that makes sense for your situation there, Gemini, but you're more than welcome to check out your other placements, of course. Subscribe to the channel, and we will move on over to Cancer. I'm just grabbing your timestamps here. All right. Cancer. Messages of hope for our Cancers, please. Messages of hope for Cancer. Cancer. Messages of hope for Cancer, please. Okay, firstly we have the journey coming through. See this girl like in the car, hanging out of the car, hair swinging in breeze, arms back, enjoying the ride. It's time to enjoy the ride, but also to balance things out a little bit here, because we have the 10-90 ratio. Okay, so that's something out of balance in your life at the moment, and it's making you feel like this journey is too much hard work, because you're putting 90 in and you're only getting 10 back with something here, and so you're not really enjoying the ride as much. So there is something that is a little bit out of whack, needs to be balanced a little bit better in your life here. So it's not telling me straight away what exactly that is, but I feel like it may be a little bit different for each and every one of you there, but you kind of know that things are out of whack for you right now, and that you're putting too much. It's kind of like telling me you're putting all your eggs in one basket kind of thing, and because you're working so hard to keep that basket afloat and make sure that it's fine, you're kind of slacking on other areas of your life a little bit here. You're only putting in 10% to all this other stuff, because you've got 90% of your focus all on that basket. But you need to actually just slow down and enjoy the journey a little bit more. And you know what? That basket's going to be fine. That basket's going to be fine, but you need to, balance it out a little bit and just enjoy the journey of the whole lot, not just the hard work that you're putting in all the time. You need to stop putting in so much, I feel, for whatever this is. But we'll clarify this here. Messages of hope for Cancer. Messages of hope for Cancer, please. Yeah, you're going to too much trouble. You're really going to too much trouble, and you're it's kind of, now I'm seeing that the Joker phrase, why so serious? We have the whip coming through first, and then the fox. So you're putting yourself into a lot of drama, a lot of tension within your own self, stressing yourself out kind of thing, because you're taking everything out upon your own shoulders. You're being too independent. The fox is very independent, trying to, I tell myself that I'm doing everything I have to do in order to survive, but you can be more clever about it, and delegate and things like that, because this is causing you a lot of conflict and drama just within your own self. It's kind of like you're fighting yourself, and telling yourself that, if I don't do it, it's not going to get done kind of thing. And it is actually causing you a lot of conflict, and it's kind of like you're punishing yourself, saying, I've got to do everything. I've got to take everything upon my own shoulders. I've got to do all the work, and I've got to put in 90% all the time. But you're only getting 10% back from others when and whatnot. But I feel like for a lot of you here, it's about being a little bit less independent. You're being a little bit, because that's the other thing with the 10-90 ratio, right? Is you think about a partnership, right? It should be 50-50. If you're putting in 90, you're not allowing the other person the opportunity to meet you in the middle at 50. You're putting in too much. And because you're putting in so much, you know, you're taking the opportunity away from them to put in 50. They are only able to put in 10. So do you know what I mean? I feel like some of you, you're actually, because the fox sometimes can be a little bit selfish, and you're kind of saying, I have to do it all, but you're not allowing other people the opportunity for them to be independent. You're just doing it all for them. So, you know, sometimes people need to learn their own ish and put in the work themselves. And if you're doing it all for them, they're not learning the lessons. They're not making the mistakes. They're not putting in. And they need to put in. And you need to allow them to put in, instead of taking over a little bit here. Feels like you're kind of, you know, you need to slow down and enjoy your journey a little bit more, but also, you know, allow others to have a little bit more control here. Because, and I feel like for some of you, that's why we're seeing that whip there as well, because it's actually causing conflict in some of your relationships here, that people are actually arguing with you, like, Cancer, let me do it. Cancer, I wanted to do that. Why did you do everything? I wanted to do something. That kind of thing. We do see the stork as well. So, you know, the stork stirs things up and it gets things moving. It's coming up with new ideas and new perspectives on how to sort of shake it up and get things moving in the right direction here. So, you know, and I feel like for a lot of you that you actually, you know, the stirring up of things that needs to happen for you here is allowing other people a little bit of control, because do you know what? They have different ideas. They have different perspectives, and sometimes they can teach you things. You know, sometimes you learn by allowing others to try, fail, succeed, whatever. Allowing others to be. There's a lot that you can learn. So there's like different perspectives that you need to be looking at here, and you know, allowing new ideas and new perspectives to come up. It you know, because you have your perspectives and your ideas, but they are limited to you, and other people have other ideas and other perspectives that you can actually learn a lot from, and they can actually help you a lot. You know, so I feel like for a lot of you, you need to actually just slow down, enjoy the window, you know, enjoy the window, you know, enjoy the ride, and throw your head out the window and just, you know, feel the wind in your hair, and allow someone else to drive for a little bit. Just trust that they're going to drive a little bit. Allow them to learn how to be independent as well. They're trying to learn from you, Cancer. They don't want you to do it all forever. They want to actually have a go as well. All right, so it's coming off a little bit like that you actually need to let people learn on their own as well. Okay, and you can, you know, this is a message of hope. So it's a hope that these people actually can help you. These people actually can drive the car for you and allow you that downtime. All right, so you don't have to take it all on your own shoulders. That's what we've got for you. You are more than welcome to check your other placements, of course. Subscribe to the channel, and we'll move on over to Leo. All right, Leo, messages of hope for Leo. Messages of hope for our Leos. I'm seeing like flashes. I don't know whether it's like it's kind of like lightning flashes, but then it's kind of like camera flashes. So I'm not sure what exactly the flashes I'm seeing are. Leo, messages of hope for our Leos. So you may be under the spotlight a little bit at the moment, Leo, or you know, maybe there's some stuff that lightning off in the distance or something. Create and progress. needing to bring your creative side out a little bit here, Leo. And you can do this in so many different ways. You know, we do see that this girl is, you know, painting, but you can be creative in a lot of different ways. Even just within, you know, the boring stuff, you can still, you know, be a little bit creative. But that's what is going to allow you to move forward the most at the moment, is to, you know, be a little bit creative with it and be messy. I'm getting messy with that as well. Being messy with the creative juices flowing kind of thing, coming up with, you know, fantastical ideas and seeing ways to put them into action. You know, I'm going to make this. I'm going to randomly, you know, try chucking this in my food and see what that creates, and, you know, just coming up with new ideas and trying different things, because it's part of being authentic. Okay, it's part of, you know, not needing to hide your truth anymore, Leo. That you're kind of, for a lot of you, you're expressing your truth creatively. Like for some, like, because I'm picking up here a very specific message about, you know, that because the be authentic card is all about I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, but like that's just what you're telling everybody, and deep down you may not be fine at all. Whereas the creative aspect to that allows you to express that in ways that feel safe to you. You know, so I'm trying to be authentic to who I truly am. But the only way I can express that currently is by, you know, painting this picture full of sadness to express that deep down I really am sad. Does that make sense? Like, so being authentic through your creativity, showing a little bit of your truth through the things that you're creating in your life. Leo, and that it's safe for you to take the mask off, and you don't have to pretend all the time that I'm fine, even when you're not. Leo, messages of hope for our Leos. Being vulnerable, being vulnerable. Okay, so we have the lilies coming through first. Your kindness, your morals, your vulnerability is actually your strength. And it's actually what is going to, you know, create the long-term changes within yourself that you want to create here. All right, so the create and progress is you're creating something out of kindness, out of your, you know, sticking to your morals, out of being vulnerable. Being vulnerable in a way that maybe you haven't been vulnerable before. And, you know, and once again, it can be as simple as doing a painting. This is my, you know, vulnerable side by creating this. But, you know, it can be expressed in a lot of different ways for a lot of different people. But it leads you to success. We have the key there. So your kindness and your vulnerability actually, you know, opening yourself up a little bit here. It you're opening yourself up to brand new opportunities to be successful within your life and within yourself. You know, to find opportunities to open up and be vulnerable, and it leads you directly to a more successful version of yourself, a more progressed version of yourself. We also have the clouds here as well. So, you know, it's kind of telling me that the successful thoughts, the successful perspectives, ways of thinking, more so than anything. So the more that you're creating kindness and opening up and being vulnerable, the more that you're, you know, successfully creating positive thoughts and positive hopes and dreams for the future, and you know, you're ridding yourself of anxiety and depression and clouded judgment and confusion, all that sort of overthinking stuff. You're creating yourself new opportunities and new ways of, you know, thinking about things and understanding things and moving forward with things. Okay, so it's all about, I keep getting the word kindness coming through, that it's a kindness to yourself to be open and vulnerable about who you really are and what really, you know, makes you tick. Okay. Pardon me, Leo. But that's what we have for you. Just a kind of short, sweet message for you there, Leo, but you are more than welcome to check out your other placements, of course. Subscribe to the channel, and we will move on over to our Virgos. All right, Virgo, messages of hope for Virgo. Messages of hope for our Virgos. Ooh, Virgo, strong energy from you. We have take action. It's kind of like if you, I'm kind of hearing the phrase dance towards your dreams. Okay, so you need to take action, towards your goals and the things that you hope to be. So if you hope for a certain resolution, you need to take some action towards that. And if you're, hoping for a certain goal to be fulfilled, you need to take action towards that. Dance towards your dreams. We also have the Queen of Everything. Love that for you, Virgo. Look at that. Everything is under your control. Everything is within your power. All these goals, all these hopes, they are all within your power already. You just need to take action and allow the reality to catch up with you. All right? But you have the power. Virgo, messages of hope for our Virgos, please. It's kind of like the answers are already in your hands. The goal that you seek is within your reach, within your power and your control. Virgo, messages of hope for Virgo. Yeah, so like strong foundations coming from you here. Have the Tower coming through first. You, once again, that's very, strong, powerful energy, very regimented, authoritarian kind of energy. So once again, it's that you're the queen of everything. You're up there in the tallest tower, raining down, looking down over your kingdom here. But it's kind of like, there may be some isolation, some fortress of solitude. Even Superman needs his fortress of solitude. So it's okay to take time to yourself to really, work out what is going to be the best action. How do I, defend my kingdom and make sure all my subjects are doing what they need to do to bring me the results that I want here. Interesting message. We also have the garden. Okay, so and you can kind of even see this is like the garden of a palace here. So it's kind of like allowing those loyal subjects to meeting with those loyal subjects and telling them, I need this from you and I need you to do this for me and da da da. So you're meeting people halfway. You're compromising. I'll do this for you if you do this for me. Kind of energy. You're also getting out and about among your subjects and being seen and waving and networking and accepting invitations and going to events and being seen in public. Okay, very social energy. So even though you it's because it's very different energy. We're up in our tower, isolation, fortress of solitude, but then we're out in public being seen and networking and whatnot. So we're taking, it's a balance with those sorts of things. There may be a little bit of a fight between the two of those. We do see the conflict card here as well, the whip coming through there as well. So there may be a little bit of conflict to work through, and that's why we're compromising. That's why we're, needing to not stay in isolation and get out and among our subjects, but we're not out and among the subjects all the time. We do need that isolation as well. So, there is a little bit of conflict of interest coming through there that, you may need to compromise with others a little bit, and sort of take action to show that you really are the queen of everything and the boss of everything and the one that knows the way kind of thing. But it may result in a couple of arguments because, what kingdom can you think of that doesn't have that? All right, every and you think about it the way that the world is at the moment, right? Every parliamentary system, every well, we've got, presidents, we've got kings, we've got, queens and monarchs and whatnot. We've got all different types of leaders of countries, right? Um, but not every single person is their biggest fan. There's always people fighting against the power. There's a whole song about it. But so there's always going to be conflicts when you're the one in charge, when you're the leader, when you're the boss, when you're the queen of everything. There is always going to be people fighting back against you. So it's all about compromising, learning how to, get on the equal footing as your loyal subjects, and show them that you're willing to compromise and meet them halfway with their demands, and you're doing so in a very regimented, powerful kind of way. You're coming from a very solid structure, but you do need to take action to overcome conflict and deal with those conflicts as they arise. But there may just be some argumentative, because other people that want power as well, and they just don't have what it takes to be the queen of everything. Of course, they're going to try to fight you on your throne, fight you off your throne, Virgo. So comes with the territory. So just be aware of that as well, but don't be afraid of that. Conflict is a thing because it's something that we can take action to resolve as well. So it can actually be a learning experience just in that, and it can help keep our throne as ours by exerting our power and showing that I can take action to resolve these conflicts and resolve them in the way that works out for me. You're already the queen of everything, so I'm sure you already know how to work out that conflict as well, Virgo. But it's not really a big conflict. I feel like it's just some little tiffs, little arguments for you there, Virgo. People, fighting the power. But that's what we've got for you today. You're more than welcome to check your other placements, of course. Keep your eye out for the shadow work video in the next couple of days for the full moon. And I will see you all again soon.